Well, once again, surprise, surprise. I'm ready to go, but as you can see, my co-host is missing. Andrew, are you here anywhere?
Yeah. Hang on.
Oh, yeah.
I just had to get a drink. You know how it is, right?
Cheers, my friend. Cheers.
Cheers to you, everybody. Welcome to Get Your Game On podcast. I'm Andrew.
I'm Chris.
We've got a lineup of great topics to talk about today. We are still in the COVID-19 crisis, of course. Not a lot of live sports going on right now, but we do have some developments in a number of leagues. Number one, MLB, Major League Baseball.
Well, before we break into it, I think we should say we actually have a live studio audience here tonight.
That is true. We do have a live studio audience, so want to bring it out, show us the love?
Yay.
They love us. Okay, so yeah, as you were saying,
Yeah.
Major League Baseball.
Major League Baseball, so the Players Association and the league owners, the Board of Governors, whoever decides on that, they have come to an agreement about a 60-game schedule.
Starting around July 24th, 25th is when the regular season's supposed to start. I know originally they wanted it on July 4th, but they couldn't get there together.
Yeah.
But hey, at least baseball sounds like it's coming back.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to have a condensed season, which means every game matters.
Every game matters, at least twofold. I think what was normally a 144-game season.
162.
162. So there you go. I mean, I think I was recalling minor league baseball when it was back here in Calgary. Maybe that was 144 for that. But yeah, it is a very, very condensed season. So every game matters that much more, even more so than in hockey where you got 84 games in a season, as opposed to the 60 games that MLB is going to be playing. But it's good to see that they're going to have a season. They're going to have a modified playoff schedule, is my understanding.
Yeah, I haven't seen exactly what it's going to be. I don't think they fully nailed it down, but it's supposed to be expanded a little bit, I think, to 16 teams. But unfortunately, the Blue Jays have already been eliminated from the playoffs, so...
Well, I mean, there you go. I've heard a couple of their players have actually tested positive for COVID-19, but we aren't going to talk too much about that topic during this week's episode. We'll see what happens with that as time goes on. But back to the MLB, coming back, they are going to be, my understanding is kind of having hub areas where they're going to be playing out of.
Yeah, I've heard both discussions where it could be hub areas or they'll be playing in their home stadiums. I know the Yankees and the Mets have really pushed to play at home,
right?
Because they're hoping by the end of the season that maybe they can start getting some fans in the stadium.
And that would be great for them. I mean, New York has been, of course, so hard hit by this, much more so than a lot of other places. And, now that they have, not just flattened it, but they've got it down to where the cases are on a decline, I think it would be great to, for the morale of the city, if nothing else, just to kind of get that bit of normalcy back in their lives,
Yeah, and I think no matter what you look at it, getting sports back on will allow people to maybe not go stir crazy as much as they are.
Right.
We're not having sports, you're not even getting movies or anything right now because of everything going on. So the more things we can do to get back to some sense of normalcy is going to just help everyone's mental health.
I think it's a great idea as well, especially for leagues like Major League Baseball, NFL, of course, they could play, like you said, they could play to an empty parking lot and still make money. So, it's good to kind of have that sense of normalcy, even if you can, get out to a sports bar and watch a game, at least there's that sense that there's still life chugging along. So I think it's good that the sports leagues are getting out there and doing it, but I think it's really important and really admirable that they are paying attention so much to the precautions for the players, for the staff, for everyone involved, arena officials and everything, making sure that there is adequate testing and adequate responses available in case anyone does test positive for this.
Yeah, every league is taking this extremely serious. Showing this week, you mentioned the NFL, and I know I've said that they could play in a parking lot, but the NFL this week announced that they've canceled the annual Hall of Fame game and Hall of Fame enshrinement ceremony until 2021. So basically the class of 2020 for the NFL Hall of Fame, I'm guessing it'll double because they'll have the class of 2020 and the class of 2021 next year. So every league has been affected. We don't know exactly what's going to happen NFL regular season wise because that's not till September. So they're probably going to hold off as long as they can. They said the games are going to be played, but we will see how that goes.
Right. I don't think that there's going to be fans in the stands to start out. At least not, certainly not full stands, and certainly not every stadium. I think it's going to be very dependent upon the specific area and what the cases are looking like in that state, in that city, in that jurisdiction. But I think there's got to be some uniformity to it as well. If you've got some players going to a stadium where you've got a few thousand fans versus other players playing in empty stadiums, one could argue that you're putting some teams at a disadvantage, perhaps being exposed more to people that they otherwise wouldn't have been. So, I think there needs to be some uniformity, but everything is really up in the air right now, so it's one of those things where we just have to see.
Yeah, but we are seeing players getting together and practicing. Like I know down in Tampa Bay, Tom Brady has been throwing to his receivers. Some of the 49ers staff and players have been getting together.
Nashville, I understand, is where a lot of the 49ers players have been getting together to kind of scrum and practice and work out together.
Yeah, it's been, I'm sure it's been good for them, but it's also been kind of bad for the team because they've lost 2 players to broken bones but that's football. And as it gets closer to the season, when Andrew and I start fighting about football because, he cheers for the wrong team, we'll probably go into more detail of who's going to do what. And, one thing I know we can agree on, though, NFL-wise, is Green Bay sucks.
Yeah, absolutely. Pack, send them back. Womp, womp, womp. Maybe in post-production we can put some kind of womp, womp music or something.
Yeah, maybe I'll see if I can figure that out.
The Curb Your Enthusiasm theme, unless it's going to get us sued. We don't have any insurance or anything, so don't sue us.
Yeah, so we'll see as it gets closer to September what's going to happen with the NFL. Still no major news on the CFL. They're still talking about maybe doing a hub city for the CFL, whether we have a season or not. I hope we do. I really do. But if we don't, I guess we just have to live with it.
Yeah, and the CFL will, I guess, have to live with it as well. The CFL, of course, being a very gate-driven league, really depends on those butts in the stands there. They do have some television contracts, of course, and they do have, sponsorships and whatnot. But without those tickets, without that revenue, with, people coming to the games, paying for their tickets, paying for those hot dogs and paying for those beers and those nachos and all of that, those are the lifeblood of the CFL. That's what really drives the league. And, I'm scared to see what may or may not come if there is no season for 2020.
Yeah, so am I, and that will be a development we definitely are following. As Andrew and we go to every Stampeders game, so
every home game anyway.
Hey, I go to away games too.
Knock on aluminum.
Yeah, knock on aluminum. But the biggest news this week especially here in Calgary.
Yes, absolutely.
Has to be the best all-time Flame, Jerome McGinley, first ballot Hall of Famer.
First ballot Hall of Famer, Jerome McGinley. Who else can you count as a first ballot? Mario Lemieux. I think Wayne Gretzky was. There have been some.
Mark Messier.
Mark Messier, but they're right in that upper echelon of all-time players. And Jerome McGinley, one could say we're biased because we're lifelong Flames fans, but you know what? I think anybody who follows hockey can honestly say that Jerome McGinley is a world-class player in the history of the game. Definitely deserves this on the first ballot.
Oh, I agree. He's 100% a first ballot Hall of Famer. He assisted on one of, if not the biggest goal in Canadian history.
Absolutely.
He assisted on the golden goal. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 2010 in Vancouver there, Sidney Crosby.
He always wore the Canadian colors. If he wasn't hurt, he danced to that call all the time, loved wearing the colors, and he was a phenomenal player, and he is a phenomenal human being. I know he lives in Boston now, and he does stuff for the community in Boston, and he still reaches out. It's kind of interesting to think a guy that I do believe he was from St. Albert, Alberta, up in the north, Oilers country, is considered one of the best Flame of all time. But hey,
that's showbiz, baby. That's showbiz, baby.
He's an adopted Calgarian. And I'm not 100% happy with the other selections for the players category.
Yeah, there were some questionable picks. Kevin Lowe, and not going to hate on him because he's a former Oiler, but he's not in the same category as a Jerome McGinley. And to be fair, it was not his first year of eligibility;
No,
it was his 20th.
20 years.
But he, if anything, I would think he would be more so considered as a builder for his work as a GM and whatnot, because for his playing career, he was a good player.
He was good, but he was on a great
Was he a
team.
Hall of Fame player? Exactly, a great team. And was he a Hall of Fame player? Was that a Hall of Fame career? If I'm looking at it objectively as I can, I'm going to have to say no to that.
No, I don't think he was either, especially the fact that he got in front of guys like Daniel Alfredson, who he was the only player Ottawa had for years. And he deserves, stat-wise alone, deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. The only thing he doesn't have that Kevin Lowe does, Stanley Cups.
Yeah, and Kevin Lowe did have 6 of them, and, to his credit, he was certainly a part of that. It's not to discredit his career by any means, but where he had got in versus others who may objectively be more deserving. And, that's an opinion, right? Like on the Big Lebowski, right? That's just like your opinion, man. With sports, a lot of it is opinion, but I think a lot of people would share that same opinion. Somebody like Alfredson, somebody like even Theo Fleury from the Flames would be a more deserving pick than him. But Theo Fleury, you got to feel for the guy. He definitely deserves to be in the Hall.
Oh, without question, he should already be in the Hall. He's getting Pete Rose. He totally is getting Pete Rose for something he did off the ice. He's getting held out of the Hall of Fame, and I hope that in Major League Baseball gets their stuff together. Pete Rose deserves to be in the Hall too, even though he gambled on baseball. But without question, Theoren Fleury needs to be in the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
A guy his size to do everything that he did on the ice. I'm sorry, it's not an argument for me. And if I was voting, they would hate me in these meetings because I probably would never shut up about Theoren until I finally convinced them to vote Theo in. He's a Hall of Famer in my books.
Absolutely, and mine too. He was my favorite player growing up. I remember going down to the arena after games, whether I'd gone to the game or sometimes even if not going to the game, I'd like to get some players' autographs on, photos or hockey cards or, pucks or whatever I might have. And Theo always obliged, even if it was a tough game. There was one game where they lost, I think it was 9-1 or something. And you know what, they still came out very, very gracious. And, he went through a lot, but he fought his demons and he recovered. And, I think if anything, if you think people deserve another shot, a shot at redemption, Theo Fleury deserves a spot in that hall among the greats. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Certainly above a Kevin Lowe or even, a Marian Hossa. He made it on the first year of eligibility as well. Great player and, possibly a good pick as a future Hall of Famer, but on the first ballot, I question that wisdom.
I didn't think he deserved to be a first ballot Hall of Famer as well. I know he did win multiple cups, he played on some great teams. He had good stats.
He did.
I do believe he wasn't even a point per game player.
No, he wasn't. And he did play for a few different teams, and I believe he won championships with Detroit and Chicago, if I'm not mistaken.
I think he was on Chicago, and I think he was on Pittsburgh when they lost, and then went to Detroit, I think, and won in Detroit.
Regardless, he is a Stanley Cup champion, an excellent player, and a solid Hall of Fame pick for the career that he had. But as a first ballot, I struggle with the reasoning on that one.
Yeah, I don't know what all the reasoning was, and we probably never will.
Right.
But hey, congratulations to Marian Hossa.
Yep.
A guy who really deserves it to get in, though, without question, in the builders category is Ken Holland.
Ken Holland, absolutely.
How many guys as a GM have turned 4th, 5th, 6th round draft picks into all-stars? Like you got guys like Zetterberg, who he was passed over by teams multiple times, and yet he's one of the one of the best wings to ever play.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. He's a legend in that wing wheel. Absolutely.
So congratulations to Ken Holland and Doug Wilson. He had a good career, won a Norris Trophy. He's still one of those marginal guys, though, that does he deserve to be in the Hall? Most years I'd say no. Maybe they just decided it was his turn.
It was his 25th year of eligibility. Who knows what goes on behind the scenes? There could be, campaigning. It could be political. It could be, you never know what's going on behind the scenes too. I question Doug Wilson as a pick for the Hall of Fame, to be perfectly honest, especially as a player. Was he a good player in his day? He was certainly a decent player, certainly passable. Hall of Fame caliber. I think there are a lot of other players that deserve that nod ahead of him. Sorry, Doug, no offense to you, but I just don't see the wisdom behind that pick.
Yeah, I can agree. It baffled me with the picks. Doug Wilson and Kevin Lowe were definitely not on the picks that I thought would make it this year.
Right.
But hey, I'm not a hockey writer, so I guess I don't know all the stats. And the last one that got in the women's category was St. Pierre. Kim St. Pierre, and well deserved. She had a great career for Canada. Won us a lot of hardware.
Absolutely. A lot of precious medals came home with her, and we certainly appreciate every bit of that, as we do with everybody that wears our red and white on their jersey and on their heart when they play for our country. But very well deserved for St. Pierre. One thing that's notable, though, is that for the Hockey Hall of Fame, they can vote in up to 2 female players each year. They decided not to this year. They decided there wasn't, I guess, a second female player that was worthy of induction for this particular year based on their votes. Now we don't know who all they were considering and what all of the the criteria were. But yeah, interesting to see that they could have picked 2 and they picked 1.
Yeah. Who knows? It's like I say, you don't know what those discussions that happen, and these guys live hockey. That's what they do. So you got to give them some credit. So congratulations to all those who made it. For those who we felt should have made it, hopefully next year. I know it's going to be tough with some of the other names that potentially will be coming up next year, because I think next year guys like Joe Sakic are eligible.
There's a lot of great players, and they're certainly coming up in their eligibility there. All we can do is just hope for the selection committee to have the wisdom to look at all facets and consider all sides. And, I'm sure they'll do a great job. But once again, Jerome McGinley, grew up watching you play for the hometown Flames here. Congratulations to you. I've met you several times. You've always been one of the most gracious human beings, just human beings in general, that I've met. And you're a beauty. So congrats, well deserved.
Yeah, I'll second that. I've met him a few times as well, and I met him when he was 18, when he was first drafted by the Flames in that playoff run, and met him down at Cowboys nightclub, had a few alcoholic beverages with him, and it was a great time. And ever since then, he's just proven over and over that he's a great human being. So well deserved. Congrats, great hockey player, and I hope he's enjoying life after hockey. I wish he was still in Calgary, but hey, c'est la vie.
That's just the way she goes. But, I have a feeling that he'll be paying us visits on a fairly regular basis. He's just such an icon in the Calgary community for hockey and just for the city in general.
Yeah.
Everybody loves Ziggy. I think that covers the topics that we had on back for tonight, didn't it?
Yeah, I think we got it covered pretty well. I hope everyone's being safe out there, being smart, and staying safe.
It's fine to get out there. The bars are opening up and everything. They've got UFC, those sorts of things. It's important to still keep social distancing from those that you don't normally hang out with. I know that we're closer than 6 feet here, but we're in I guess what do they call that, cohort?
Yeah.
Quarantine, whatever they call that. But still, wear a mask when you go out. And, just be safe. Protect yourselves. Protect everybody else. We'll all get through this, and there's a brighter future ahead for everybody. Chris, anything else you wanted to add?
No, just cheers, and remember, get your game on.
Get your game on. Thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to subscribe.